What is up? Welcome to DSP. You're looking at the wrong camera, Ian. Come on.
I was watching us up there.
You're just so entranced by yourself on the big screen. Yes. Welcome to DSP. A busy weekend and a busy week ahead for the Tigers and also the Lions. Schedule being released officially on Wednesday. A couple of crumbs being dropped out before then, so I'm sure we're going to know a couple of games. We'll get to that in our second segment. Plus, NBA playoffs right now.
Good times.
Very unexpected.
Yeah, entertaining.
Yeah,
entertaining. And it makes you wonder, what would have happened if the Pistons could have forced a Game 7 and then advanced past New York? Is that your question for the week?
It's not a question. It's an answer. And you'll find out later.
Oh, yes. You have to wait about 25 minutes for that one because we will begin with the Tigers. Along with Ian and Ken, I'm Hobie. And, guys, this team was riding high on this road trip. They went to L.A., almost got a sweep there. They went to Colorado, swept that series, including a doubleheader, but then come back home against the Rangers and a little bit different this time around.
A little bit different, but, I mean, we got to have some realistic expectations that they're not going to win every series and blow everybody out.
Every game.
Every game. Like, yes.
Every one of the 162 matters.
It wasn't the best series of the season, but, I mean, they've played a lot of games in a row.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to get a little bit tired, right? And they faced two really good pitchers this
Especially
weekend.
after the road trip that they had. I mean, you were on the road. Granted, the teams that they were playing weren't the best ones in baseball, but whenever you're
But they did what they needed to against those teams, right?
Yep.
And that's what you wanted to see.
I was surprised when they came home and played the Rangers. I was like, weren't they just in Colorado like
Yes.
a second
Yeah.
ago?
Yeah,
No day off.
And they played a doubleheader on Thursday
Right.
and then had to come back home.
Yeah, so I read that this series, I guess you could count the one beforehand too. They played in 4 different time zones in a row, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, that's tough. That's tough on the body. That's tough on the schedule. These guys are playing every day. I think Trey Sweeney's had 1 inning off all season. So, I'm not. And it was who they played too. You faced DeGrom, you faced Evaldi, 2 pretty good pitchers. So, I mean, it's okay.
It's clear that you're not going to be facing a bullpen and a starting lineup like what the Angels have and what the Rockies have, because those are 2 teams that are bottom 5 in ERA right now. Poor team right now, man. That is a rough go for that team right now.
Did you see it was like 15-0 in the 5th inning on Saturday in Colorado? The whole place was still filled. I was like, good for these guys.
Rooting the team on. But the one game that the Tigers did win this weekend, it was the game that Tarek Skubal pitched. And I think we were talking about it last week about how we thought that it was going to be the rotation that was carrying this team, and the offense might have some trouble. And I think that we all expected that Friday game to be the consistent thing all season long where they can barely plate runs, but then one of the aces shows up. I mean, Tarek Skubal, what was the stat the other day? Like 50 strikeouts
50
to 1 walk
Yeah, that's insane.
Over his last few starts.
Yeah.
That's just... You've seen Justin Verlander pitch here. You've seen Max Scherzer pitch here. But the plane that he is on right now, is it comparable to anything that you think Detroit baseball fans have seen so far?
Verlander's best seasons, he had no hitters in there, so, that kind of. But Skubal is just so dominant right now. 13 strikeouts after 11 strikeouts.
This early in the season.
Early in the season. Somehow his stats are better right now than they were at this point last year where he won the Cy Young. So it's obvious to see that he has.
But he almost got better as the season went on last year.
He did. So if that happens,
it's almost like once he hit the midway point, that was it. And anytime we would talk to him in the clubhouse, he didn't want to talk about the season. It was like, I'm going to just go keep going out doing my thing. And I think that's still his approach this year in a lot of ways.
Yeah, he was no hit through 5 on Saturday on Friday. So that was it was a great outing.
Pay the man.
Yeah, that's going to be the story. That's the story.
Pay the man.
But if you are the Tigers and he is, granted, a diamond in the rough whenever you talk about drafting a guy where he was taken, molding him into what you want him to be as an ace pitcher in Major League Baseball. I mean, where do you think the timing is? Is this something that the Tigers could get done early? Because do you really want this storyline to be dominated all offseason?
No, and I think
no matter what happens this year.
I think the sooner they can get it done, the better, but they're not going to. I think between Skubal and Scott Boras, they're going to wait and hold out for as much money as possible. And, maybe we see something get done in this offseason, but if it doesn't get done in this offseason, I think next year it becomes a distraction. And you wonder what happens at the trade deadline. You wonder, even if they're winning, do they just, they move him because they can't afford him? I think you got to pay him. Yeah. I know you guys are not confident that that's ever going to happen. I remember what it was like to lose Justin Verlander when we didn't want to pay him, and that sucked.
Yeah, but that felt like it was kind of the end of that Tigers era, and they were kind of they were like, okay, it's time to move on. We're gonna do something else. Yeah. This is the beginning of the Tigers era.
Very different.
And to let go of your best player in that situation would be just such a depressing moment in Detroit sports.
And to add to that, I mean, this is a very young roster right now. Whenever you look at it top to bottom with the guys who are contributing, they won't have any other huge contracts in the long-term future. So if I'm this organization right now, granted, it's one pitcher, but he is right now the best pitcher in the American League.
He's 27 right now.
Yeah, it's
He'll
hard
be
to
29. You know, he'd be starting his contract in his year 30. Does that factor into it? Do you know, I don't know. It is the time to pay him. You will almost be done with the Javi contract at that point. So, I mean, you will have some money depending on what they do, but that also, you know, you're gonna have to pay Torque soon. You're gonna have to pay Riley Green soon.
Yeah.
You know,
or do you make the decision there of playing the game of, okay, who do you pay, who do you not pay, and go from there? Because Tarik Skubal is your ace for a reason, and so many guys last season, and I'm sure into this season, have said, we go how he goes. Like, if he's having a great game, we feed off of that energy so much. I mean, he really is the heartbeat, in a way, to this resurgence that the Tigers have had.
Yeah, he is. He you know, you can kind of say that they rode his leadership on his shoulders last year. He was the most dominant player in baseball last year, besides Ohtani, you know, most dominant pitcher, no doubt. And, you know, they had a very successful end of the season. And, you know, you let go of him, and I could see how it will start to, the team would have a very different feeling.
Yeah,
I agree.
It does feel like the Tigers are entering a period where they're starting to play some better teams here in the upcoming month. And they got that Cleveland series at the end of the month. That's going to be a big one. But how do you think they're going to fare? I think they're playing teams that are above 500 here coming up the next few series.
Boston, Toronto, St. Louis, Cleveland, all teams above 500 right now. Or at or above 500.
This will be a really good test over the next month, you know, because like you said, the last 3 series before this, they weren't great teams on the road, and they dominated, which is what you wanted them to do. But let's see if they hold out. I am a little bit worried about pitchers not named Tarik Skubal now that Casey Mize is also hurt. I mean, there's something wrong with Jack Flaherty a little bit. He's not the same pitcher he was last year at this point. Jackson Jobe has been okay, but it's still a rookie, but still giving up some runs. Reese Olson yesterday got beat up a little bit. So they're winning, and they've been scoring runs, but you can see what happens when they don't score runs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Clearly evident.
I'm just glad Nelson Cruz is not on the Rangers anymore.
But you know who is on the Red Sox, and that's who is in town starting
Rick Porcello.
tonight? No.
JD Martinez.
A guy that
David Ortiz.
No. A guy that the Tigers missed out on in free agency.
Yep,
Alex Bregman. Should be an interesting series.
He'll get booed.
You think he's getting booed?
Yeah.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Just tonight, or like every night this series?
Every night, like Jalen Brunson level booed.
Really?
Wow. Oh, yeah. Turn down he had what was suspected to be a better contract offer from the Tigers to go to Boston. Obviously, wanted to play there over playing in Detroit.
At what point does the chirping begin?
Man.
At what point does the chirping begin, though? Like on-field warm-ups? I mean,
yes.
The lineups getting announced, or every at-bat?
Yes.
Like all of the above?
Every at-bat, any ball hit the third. You know, anytime Alex Bregman's involved tonight, boo this man.
Wow. Do you think that the Tigers faithful is tapped in enough to know to boo him like that?
It was the storyline this offseason.
The people who show up on a Monday night for a
storyline.
game, they're pretty. The people who show up on Monday nights are pretty tapped in.
Yeah, that's fair.
And because it dominated every headline this offseason.
It was the only thing we tried to do.
That was the talking point.
It was the only talking point.
You don't see that much booing at baseball games like that.
I don't know.
Boo this man.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
I'm going tonight now. I'm leading it.
At least
I'm leading. I'm gonna figure out where the FanDuel microphone is for the crowd, and I'm just gonna stand right next to it. Boo every time.
Is that your boo?
I mean,
or you got to be a little more emphatic and passionate than
that's
that.
my in-studio boo.
Okay.
That's my indoor voice.
So we have to wait until you're at Comerica Park to like
watch tonight for Alex Bregman's first at bat,
and then watch for Ian. Watch for Ian in the crowd.
Yeah.
A good stretch coming up for the Tigers. Prove it time before Memorial Day for this team. Still more to come on DSP. We'll be diving into the Lions schedule. That is going to be officially released on Wednesday, but we do know the opponents. Home looks looks favorable.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about whenever you flip it to the road opponents?
Oh, boy.
Terrifying.
The worst.
Terrifying and the worst. We'll dive into it when we return on DSP. Welcome back to DSP. We're still laughing about the potential booing at Comerica Park, not for the Tigers. And there we go, because Alex Bregman is coming to Detroit. A lot of teams coming to Detroit for football coming up this year. 8 home opponents the Lions have, but 9 games on the road, and oh boy, that is a doozy. But let's go ahead and show you. The schedule is getting released later on this week. It's going to be on Wednesday night, but these are the Lions' 2025 home opponents. Of course, they're going to play the Bears, Packers, and Vikings, the NFC North opponents. But then after that, the Cowboys, who struggled last year, the Browns, who I don't know who's going to be the quarterback.
Either do they.
I don't think they do. Ian, you're leading Tampa Bay here. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
The inside joke here is that Ian looks like Baker Mayfield.
It's been said.
It has been said. Reports say that. And then the Giants, speaking of quarterbacks.
Who will be their quarterback?
That's another good question. Yeah. Steelers, how about that one?
Who will be their quarterback?
That is the common trend there. Anybody? How do you feel about the home opponents?
This is an 8-0. This is a potential 8-0 schedule.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. I mean, I would love to get the Cowboys early before they figure stuff out. Steelers early before they figure it out. Browns, we could play them anytime. That's going to be they're going to boat
Cowboys getting George Pickens in the offseason to pair with CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
could test the secondary.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
this is a very winnable schedule.
Yeah, you get the divisions. The division's always going to be tough for the most part, and then you pretty much have the Cowboys and the Steelers there, and the Bucks, who are they're pesky.
And for me, it's the timing of those games because yes, this team has gone out and played in the elements outside. They went to Lambeau last year. It was raining. They won. But anytime you can get those games later in the year.
Yeah.
Huge, huge, especially whenever you're talking playoff implications and needing to be good indoors in your natural environment with your home crowd. Things can be interesting.
I'm a little worried of that schedule that you're not going to get a bunch of home primetime games with that schedule.
No.
Maybe an in-division game with either Chicago or
Green Bay, Minnesota, maybe Dallas.
Maybe.
But if they sort things out at the beginning of the year, I mean, maybe so. Okay, that's the home. That's the good news. Let's go to the other full screen, and Ian is going to excuse himself now because, oh boy, this is a doozy. Right there, 9 road games this year. 8 of those 9 teams finished above 500 last year because they have to go to the Bengals, to the Chiefs, to the Commanders, who knocked them out of the playoffs last year, the Super Bowl champion Eagles, the Rams, who are always a tough opponent for this team, the Ravens on the road. Last time they went there, didn't turn out so good. And then, of course, 2 outdoor games with the Bears and the Packers in the division. Timing for that will be interesting. And then the Vikings at US Bank Stadium.
I mean, it's basically a list of the teams that made the playoffs last year.
Kind of, yeah.
Like, I mean, you could put this up next to the playoff bracket from last year, and it'd be pretty close. So, or at least teams that were in the mix, or
what is that, 7 of 9 are outdoors, right?
7. Ooh. 7. I mean, let's see. Well, let's see. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Washington, Eagles, Ravens. And then Bears and Packers. And something, you bring that up, I mean, looking at those games right there, not only are they outdoor games, they're outdoor games where it gets really cold.
There could be some very cold games in that.
And so you have to imagine that some of those are going to be December, potentially January type games. And I know this team says that it's broken the narrative that they can't play outdoors.
They're built for this, Hobie.
Well, yeah.
Nobody's built for this.
That type of schedule, it is tough. But playing those games outside, I mean, you're going to have to play outdoors. Now that's really going to be put to the test because they only had a handful of outdoor games last year, and one of those was like the 49ers game.
Yeah, they got really lucky last year. They had a lot of indoor games.
Yeah.
They were undefeated on the road last year, which is, that is kind of that's like one of their biggest calling cards. Like, we're going to go out, we're going to win on the road. This schedule, though, is crazy. I mean,
They will not be undefeated this year.
Even if you're amazing on the road, like you play a perfect game, like that's you're going to get a bunch of primetime games. It's going to be high energy. Like, I mean, you're playing 4, 5 legit Super Bowl contenders on the road in one season. That's a lot. So that's what you get for being a good team. I mean, that's what happens.
That's the bad part of being a good team. But out of looking at those 9 opponents, factoring in that a lot of them are outdoors, where do you put them finishing? What type of record are we looking at? I mean, undefeated on the road last year.
It's just so hard to. I mean, like, if you can get away with winning 5 or 6 of those,
I think 5 would be a win.
And that might be a lot.
I think 5 might be a win.
I mean, look, the Lions are really good.
They are.
Yes. You know, like these teams, their fans are looking at the schedule too, and they're like,
too.
"Oh, the
we got the Lions
like,
coming
great.
here." Yep.
So like, let's not.
And they're
act
probably
like,
thinking, well, at least we're going to have them at home.
Yeah.
Like that's probably what they're thinking.
So I believe that the Lions can win some of these games, hopefully most of those games. But yeah, they're not going to go undefeated on the road. It's just not. No team could possibly sweep that road slate. No way.
Not even KC whenever they were in their prime, in the midst of all their big Super Bowl runs.
They have the 3rd hardest schedule on paper for record. But if you throw in the road schedule, they clearly have the toughest schedule in the league now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be really tough to win those games. So
Ian, thank you for joining us back at the table after walking away during the full screen. Out of those, which ones do you think are the most winnable? I mean, we were talking about how the home games were winnable.
I mean, I think the Rams game is probably the most winnable on that list. I think your division games are probably. Man,
who knows what Chicago is going to
do?
Yeah,
Chicago. You know, you have Ben Johnson, right? So that's the one thing about Chicago. If they hired anybody else, I still think Chicago's not there yet. But with Ben Johnson,
who knows?
I think that it could be a kryptonite for this team specifically that we have no idea how that plays in.
Yeah, or the Bears are going to be extremely easy to beat this year because Ben Johnson's their head coach. So I guess it depends on how you look at it.
We will see what happens whenever the games start up in September. But the schedule.
That's true, Obi. Thanks. Yeah.
Yes, when the schedule gets here in September, we will find out. But we will know, we do know the pieces of the puzzle right now. We'll find out how it all looks coming up on Wednesday night. But games are getting released a little bit at a time. One was released on the Today Show this morning, and it's the Eagles, who are a road opponent for the Lions. I thought that's what it was going to be, but they will be hosting the Cowboys. That will be the first game of the NFL season. So we know that will not be who the Lions have week 1 out of the gate. That said, who do you want to see and what are you hoping is the matchup in week 1 for this Lions team?
It's probably a road game, I imagine, since they have 9 road games and 8 home games. So we'll guess that the first one's going to be a road game. We'll pick from those road teams. And if it's not an in-division game, so you got to pick from who's left. Maybe the Rams. I want it to be Washington.
Do it again. I mean, we'll be doing this all over again.
Yeah, I want it to be Washington, but I think if it's Washington, then they play Sunday night maybe. I think that Washington game will be one of their primetime games. I just don't know if it'll be
NFL
week 1.
loves storylines, and there are so many storylines with this schedule.
Yeah, there are so many storylines.
So who are you going with? Rams week 1?
Yeah, I'm going to go Rams week 1.
Oh, you changed it because you said it was going to be the Commanders. I mean, that feeds into, because last year it was the Rams and Lions, the first-round matchup, and then now It could be that.
It could be, yeah. The reason I didn't go with Washington was I really think that Washington game will be a primetime game. So
it still could be.
It still could
because
be.
the first game of the year is going to be on a Thursday night.
Yeah, it could be Sunday night or Monday night.
It could be.
It could be, yeah. So if it is Washington, then that would be the Sunday night game, I would think.
I don't want these games, but I think, give me Baltimore or give me KC just because I want to get them out of the way as early as possible. If you can catch some of those teams early on, they're still figuring some stuff out. Maybe you have a better shot.
Any
like
of the
you said
outdoor
before,
games.
you have warmer weather.
Yep.
All of that stuff. Like I'd rather not play Baltimore and Kansas City in November and December. That's just going to make it even worse.
No.
So
I will go with one that could be a home game or it could be an away game because I'm going to go with a divisional opponent. And no, I'm not going to go with the team that they were jockeying for position with last year in Minnesota. No, I think that story has been told already. Yes, it's also a fierce game anytime that they play that team at Lambeau Field, whether it's here or there. But I brought up storylines, and a name has already been brought up. And I think the NFL, after all of the things that were said, either intentionally or if the media took the words and turned them inside out, I want to see the Lions and the Bears week 1. That's what I want, week 1.
That would be fun.
It would be fun.
It would be, it has all you could ever want. It has a divisional matchup. It has an up-and-coming team like the Bears because they think they have all the right pieces in place versus the team that they will have to beat if they want to win the division. You have a divisional matchup right there. And then also throw into it Ben Johnson versus Dan Campbell, week 1.
Yeah.
That has like you. That's not a
I'm sold,
storyline.
Hobie.
That's
I'm
like
sold.
1, 2, 3. Let's go down
Sign
the
me
list.
up.
Yeah, and you
There's
throw
so
in
many parallels with these two teams to go into this game.
And you throw in the Pope, now you got a bunch of storylines.
Leo the Lion, Pope Leo.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa. The first and last time the Pope comes up on Detroit Sports Plus.
That's what I'm gonna go with, though. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with the Bears week 1 because, and that's one of those games. It could be in prime time if the NFL wants to do it, or it's one of those games
there's
where it's
plenty
like
of storylines there
if
for
there's
prime time.
if there's one that they want to put for 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And they could put it there too. It's one of those games that could go anywhere on the schedule.
We know the Lions are a big audience draw for the league. I also wouldn't mind a really boring week 1.
Yeah.
You know, give me
Cleveland?
Lions Giants. I don't know.
Or Cleveland,
Just give me
yeah.
something. Yeah, just
No, but
I'm totally down.
But you were just saying, like, anytime the Lions are on TV, they draw an audience.
Yeah.
And I think week 1, the NFL is going to want to see it because the Lions have morphed into an America's team type of team.
For sure.
And granted, the quote unquote America's team is playing the first game. Detroit
Can we stop calling
could
them that?
I think Lions Bengals also is
that
is
has
spicy.
some draw.
Yeah, I think there's a good something there.
Yeah, all those road
Yeah.
games could be primetime games. Every one of them. That's terrifying.
I mean,
So
they really,
that's the
Rod
worst
Wood did
news.
say earlier was it last month at the Detroit Economic Club? He was saying how we're not expecting to have many 1 o'clock games this year.
No.
And I mean, whenever you look at a schedule like that, I would venture to say if they are going to have a 1 o'clock game,
It'll be-
odds are it's going to be at home
Yeah.
or probably maybe all of them.
Yeah.
Because we could have a bunch
Yeah,
of
all the
primetime
home games could
here.
be one.
I mean, even if you factor in like a 4:30 start or 4 o'clock start, I mean, that's going to be a lot of.
Yeah, they
least
could
not
play
prime
Kansas
time.
City at 4:30.
Yep. Or Cincinnati.
Or Cincinnati, yeah.
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 Oh man, I'm ready for it right now.
Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday, you
Well,
said?
no, not Wednesday.
No, I know, but the release is Wednesday.
Wednesday
But-
evening, I believe 7:30 it comes out.
As stressful as it seems, this is what we signed up for. You know what I mean? This is what
Yeah,
we
you
want.
got to be good,
Yeah.
right?
We want,
If you want to be good,
we want to play the best. We want to be
Yeah.
the best.
Yep.
You have to beat the best
Yep.
to be the best. So bring it on. Let's do it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate
Somebody turn that up to 11, or you can dial it back.
Oh,
just a
we're
little.
talking about the playoffs in the NFL. That'll be here in a few months, but I think everybody's ready. But right now, playoff basketball has been something to behold when you look at what Indiana has been able to do in their series against Cleveland, and then also look at the way the Knicks started their series against the Celtics, which begs the question, can you tease it at the beginning of the show? If the Pistons were to advance past the Knicks, where do you think they would have ended up?
I think
Could they have beaten Boston after what you've seen, and could they have made a run at a spot in the finals?
no. But, I think they would have
You
given
built
Boston.
this up so
I
high.
know.
Thanks.
I think they would have given Boston some trouble, just like they do with every team.
Yeah.
They would have been an annoying sort of pestering team. But at the end of the day, Boston just has so many weapons. The Pistons just and playing against the defending champions, like the experience level there, it would have been really tough to win 4 games against Boston. The Knicks might do it. The Knicks have a
might.
lot more experience. They're kind of feeling themselves right now after beating the Pistons. They feel invincible all of a sudden
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
beating the Pistons. So I don't know. I mean, and Boston got caught sleeping, but I don't think the Pistons would have made it past Boston at all. And if they did, by the way, they would have played the Pacers, and the Pacers are playing at a championship level.
Yes,
right
They
they
are
are.
playing out of their minds.
I can't believe it. I really think
Cleveland
they might
is
come out
dealing
of
with
the
some
East.
injuries.
I
Okay.
think Indiana
Donovan
might.
Mitchell, rolled his ankle last night?
Boston, whoever comes out of that Boston New York series is going to have a lot of trouble with the Pacers. I'm
Yeah.
already calling it. That series is over.
The Pacers series is over? Well, yeah, they were dominant yesterday. It was like 80 to 40.
Oh, by halftime it was done. Yeah.
That's crazy.
But also, you brought up the Boston game. I mean, they had 2 20-point leads,
Yeah.
If the Pistons would have played that type of team and if they would have been down 20, I don't
They're
know
not
if they were
coming back.
built to come back
No.
from that big of a deficit
No
in
way.
those games.
Shout out to JB Bickerstaff too, because they gave him. He got fired out of Cleveland last year because they couldn't perform in the playoffs.
I know, and then here we are.
I mean, obviously it wasn't his fault.
By the way, the current NBA Coach of the Year.
Yeah, another.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the biggest story in the playoffs so far is the death of home court advantage.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
the road teams. I mean, just in the Pistons-Knicks series alone,
Yeah.
5 games, 1 on the road.
Yeah.
in
And
that
then in the
series.
second round, everybody lost the first 2 games,
Everybody.
right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
There was
it's-
one-
First game.
there
It was the
one-
first game. It was
It's
because
really-
Minnesota
game.
bounced back.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that. I think teams are feeling a lot of pressure at home. I don't know why, but you
just
go into a
shows how
road
much-
atmosphere, you got nothing to lose.
I mean,
you're
it shows the parity that the NBA has this year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what makes it exciting. That's what makes playoff basketball exciting.
Yeah.
It's been fun, except for that 17-8 first quarter with the Nuggets and the Nuggets game yesterday. That was
That was brutal.
All right, we are all out of time on DSP. Hopefully, this was not too brutal.
No, this was
No.
great. I miss
No,
Derek.
it's great.
When's Derek coming back? It's
Who
tough being in
knows?
this seat.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Well, you're this is
Do you like
like
that
the
seat better? It's all right.
No, I like being over here.
Okay.
he likes Ken Island over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, that's my corner.
Ken's corner. There we go. We'll rope it off next time for
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it.
That's it for us on DSP. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.